Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Livewire Gaming Show. It's just the two of us this week. Dylan couldn't make it. IRL flaring up, but that happens. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But this week, myself and Stephen are here, and we are going to talk about E3 / Summer Games Fest. We're going to talk about what we're expecting to see, what we're predicting or hoping to see, and then we might have a few wild cards of random stuff that we probably won't see, but it would be nice. And then we might wrap it up with our one dream announcement for E3. We may also dip into what Sony are maybe planning for the summer, because as everyone knows, PlayStation kind of gave an up yours to E3 a couple of years ago and are doing their own thing. So there's plenty to talk about there. I know both of us were kind of, when we were coming up with our lists of expectations and predictions, we both kind of went, shit, Sony aren't there, we gotta leave that out. No, PlayStation aren't there, gotta leave that out. But before we dig into the meat and bones of it, we'll have our nice little weekly catch up. How have you been, Stephen?
Yeah, not too bad. This week now and next week are busy for me in real life, delivering workshops and stuff. So haven't had much time to game. I did the raids, the 3 weekly vlogs on Tuesday, which was nice because it's just a nice rhythm to that now. It's great. I really enjoy it. But I haven't done the weekly stuff, so I need to go and do the story. I see it's the Saint 14
It is.
video.
Did you see that? Had you seen the leak?
I saw the leak. It's awesome. It looks so
good.
It's
really good. It's really good. I think
so I want to experience that in game.
Full spoiler alert for that, for the Saint 14, for the weekly Destiny story drop. But yeah, I think it's the way they're approaching the story is very, very good. I think it's very. It reminds me kind of like Breaking Bad in a way, in that it's not black or white. It's very kind of morally grey. In that, yeah, Saint 14 is kind of in the same way that us as a Guardian is, in that while we're out killing all the Fallen and they're monsters to us, or we're killing Hive, we're fighting Cabal, and they're monsters, so they're the bad people, we gotta kill them. But to them, we're the bad person. So we kind of like,
yep.
Yeah, it's really.
I really like in the art design and the story that they essentially have that part where Saint's cape, his Titan butt cheeks, look like a devil's tail, and the even that line about him. Yeah, when it flashes,
his helm flashes a skull. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Attack on Titan with that one. But I think the really powerful one is the part where they say when he grabs you and brings you into his bubble, and we all know what the bubble does. Like, so you're basically bringing this motherfucker in, blinding him, and beating the shit out of him. Like, that's like hearing it from their side. That's horrendous, but that's essentially what it is, and it's so. I love that Bungie are going that road now. That
I think Bungie are doing some very brave storytelling.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm really looking forward to doing that and experiencing it in game. Other than that, then
I think I still need to do that on my Hunter, by the way. So hit me up.
The only other thing that I did do was, after the Horizon Forbidden West reveal, was boot up Horizon Zero Dawn on PC and give it a go.
It's stunning on PC.
It's stunning, but fuck me, is that key binding the worst thing to ever happen to a keyboard? Like, who
I disagree. I have played Final Fantasy 15 with a keyboard and mouse.
That's true, but there's just it is not conducive to keyboard and mouse for me. I just can't get it. But I'm refusing to go controller because I really like being able to aim with the mouse. But I just need to figure out proper keybinds that I can actually dodge properly without getting killed by a fucking watcher. But it's higher frame rate for that game, and graphics really make a difference. It's such a beautiful game. So that's been me this week.
Quite interesting to see now that we know that Uncharted 4 is also coming to PC down the line. Like that'll look pretty on PC as well, with the higher frame rates and like
Yeah,
Uncharted is the nice looking game anyway, but on PC that'll be absolutely glorious.
yeah, absolutely. If they do that right, that's 4 games that are going to sell massively on PC.
Yeah, I've a feeling that we might get a fifth within the next 12 months.
To line up with the movie.
Oh no, I mean another PC game from PS4 or PS5 PC
Oh
game
yeah,
to PC game within
yeah,
the
yeah.
next 12 months. It wouldn't
I'm
surprise me.
leaving that.
I,
I'm leaving that
I,
for my predictions.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be an E3 announcement, but I think one of PlayStation's big hitters will be coming to PC before the sequel comes out.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me. I'd be more surprised if it didn't. But
I
anyway,
think that. Yeah, but go on. So, how's your week been?
been all right. Doing a lot of like yourself. Did a lot of Vault of Glass raids between last week's episode and this week's episode. Helped a lot of people through get their first completions. A lot of Sherpas going on. I don't know how many I'm at now. And then did 3-man twice with 2 different teams. So I did a 3-man with 2 guys, and then did a 3-man with 2 others, and now we're making plans to do it with 2 men. We're not doing the whole thing with 2 men because it couldn't be bothered. We'll just do Atheon 2-man or Atheon as a 2-man. Which, yeah, I think it will be alright. I think once we get into the rhythm of it, it'll just be about putting out enough damage, but there's no reason we can't. Have you seen that Prometheus lens got chopped? It's
I
gone.
did. I as soon
The
as I saw
meme
that,
bean,
I was
the
like,
meme
I was so
bean.
happy.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy. Kraut was like, "Oh, my meme beam's gone," and I'm like, "Yes, we get to do that encounter legitimately. Fantastic."
But you can now freeze them and just push them back to give yourself more time.
That's true. If stasis still works, which also got absolutely destroyed. But yeah, apart from Vault of Glassing and Tree Manning and that, I watched the new season, the 3rd and final season of the Kaminsky Method, and it was a great big disappointment. But I won't spoil anything on that. It wasn't. It was okay. It didn't hold a candle up to the first 2 seasons. It really didn't, and I'm not going to go into the reasons why, because it's full of spoilers. But yeah, it was. I don't know. As the laymen are doing out of on out of a 3 scoop ice cream, it was a 1 scoop. So it was a 1 scoop out of 3. But yeah, like the first and second season of that are fantastic. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, the 3rd season was just. It was a swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was.
So could you feasibly watch seasons 1 and 2 and stop there, or
yeah,
do you have
like,
to watch straight? Yeah.
I actually they could have just stopped it after season 2 and just never. So one of the actors, I won't say who in it, had only signed on for 2 seasons. So they kind of just wrote that actor out of season 3. So
Okay.
and it was kind of like, ugh. And he's the best character in it. He's fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic in it. So it is what it is. You kind of just wonder, why did you bother? You could have just left it after season 2. And but some people enjoyed it. Like Louise's mom was saying that they enjoyed it, but me and Louise were kind of like,
Yeah.
they kind of ruined it.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, what is it about modern TV and ending really good programs with a shitty final season?
Season 8.
Not many, man. Like How I Met Your Mother is another example that just the final
Stop.
season was just absolute rubbish, and I'm happy Dylan's not here to debate that with me. But like, yeah, like it is what it is. But anyway, shall we move on?
We shall. Yeah.
Okay, so like we haven't really set up like a rigid kind of. Oh, we each get 10 predictions, or I think we just have a nice, just open, flowing conversation about it. I know where it's naturally gonna go, in that a lot of it's probably gonna be taken up with Xbox and Bethesda talk, because that's really the biggest part of E3 now. I think no Nintendo probably have quite a decent showing. That I think it'll naturally just kind of become an Xbox / Bethesda discussion. But we'll start off with what we're expecting to see at E3. So these are things that we're pretty sure will probably be announced. And if they're not announced at E3, they'll be announced at the Summer Game Fest. That's a week. That's 3 or 4 days beforehand. And I also think we should open this up. So you got Gamescom opening night at the end of August. Like I think we could maybe include that if we think that maybe if it's not ready for an E3 announcement, it might be a Gamescom announcement. So anything we expect kind of in that window, I think we could probably be discussing. So so Summer Game Fest is up first. And Jeff Keighley is bragging about how many world premieres they've got at the start of that.
How'd that sound in my head? World premiere.
World premiere. It's great. It's the best part of E3. Second best part of E3. But right, Stephen, you kick us off. What's something that what's something you're really expecting from E3 this year? While I open my fruit salads.
So I have them separated as Summer Games Fest and E3. So I'll go E3. Okay. And this is, if this didn't happen, I have no idea why these people are presenting. But we're gonna get an awful lot about gameplay and discussions on the Division verse. So we're gonna get
100%.
Yeah, we're gonna get gameplay reveals for the Battle Royale Division, whatever the fuck it's called.
Heartland. Was it?
No, that's Ghost Recon, isn't it?
No, it's Tom Clancy's Division.
Oh.
You mean the free to play? Right. You mean the free to play one?
Yeah.
So you're talking about the Division's answer to Scavengers, basically.
Scavengers. Yeah. Tom Clancy Scavengers. That's what it is.
Tom Clancy Scavengers. Yeah. That was Heartland. I don't know what it is.
You're probably right. Sorry, I think I'm thinking of Wildlands. Isn't that the Ghost Recon one? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I think we're going to get an awful lot. We're going to get what they call the in-depth discussion on this, or the deep dive. So we're going to see the guy with the controller playing the game from his little screen in front of him, and it's up on the big screen, and he's a pro all of a sudden. Or we'll get really bad camera angles, one or the other.
No, you know what we're going to get? We're going to get really, really bad voice actors doing the... Okay, I'm not saying the voice actors are bad. I'm saying the dialogue. So, it's like, I've got one here on your 6. Oh, that's a great shot. Well done, Sandy. It's just like... Really, really weird. Like, do you remember when the Division's gameplay was showing off? Or you got it for Anthems as well, where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go in there later when Johnny gets. I was like, oh my god, it's just cringy. Yeah, we're gonna get a hell of a lot of that from the Ubisoft conference.
Yeah.
I think Ubisoft are like the main offenders for that.
Yeah, they really are. So that's my first expected and definitely going to happen is a serious amount of gameplay and discussion on the new Division verse and that Heartlands.
I think that Division verse, diverse, will be spread across. So we've got the Geek Week Netflix showcase, and I think quite a few, is it the Jake Gyllenhaal Division movie?
Oh, yeah.
That's been in development for a while. I imagine we're going to get some news about that at the Netflix showcase.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll probably get it during the Ubisoft one. But yeah, I think that Tom Clancy's answer to Scavengers is... I reckon we get definite gameplay and possibly a beta release date. Maybe not a full release... But I imagine because I imagine it's going to enter early access before it enters full release.
Yeah, I could actually see a beta before Gamescom, or at Gamescom with. Well, actually, they don't have. There'd be no one going to it, so. But yeah, maybe just during
I can imagine that. And there is a lot of other Tom Clancy. I imagine whatever the new Division 2's expansion is, we probably get more information about what that is. Yeah, I think that's probably right. And it's a Ubisoft presentation, so there's going to be a Dance Dance Revolution thing there. There always is.
Yep, unfortunately.
So. Yeah, the Ubisoft conference is always a bit of a wild card. Yeah. What else we might get? Maybe anything for Assassin's Creed. Like
Don't
Wrath of
be,
the
don't be,
Druids.
don't be taking other shit now. Hold on, go into yours. Don't be going into my shit here.
Oh, we're talking about Ubisoft. We might as well get all the Ubisoft shit out of the way before they start charging us microtransactions to keep talking about it.
To keep talking, yeah. Well, I have one, but it's under prediction, not expected.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's fair. Is Valhalla supposed to get any more DLC? I haven't really followed it.
so that's what I have under half of my prediction is that we'll get new DLC for Valhalla because they've moved from the yearly releases to every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So they might support this for an extra year while
Yeah, they
the
might
B
do.
team work on the next one. Maybe.
Especially with the year that's been in it. It wouldn't surprise me.
True. Yeah. Valhalla has done quite well, so.
Okay. So yeah, we're talking about expectations, so I can't really talk about any more Ubisoft. I'm assuming we'll get like there'll be some stuff for Rainbow Six Siege will be announced, like DLC or more playable characters. I don't know really. Maybe something for what's that Viking game? For Honor.
Oh god.
I
That's
don't-
coming to
I-
Game Pass this month.
Yeah, I don't know if there'll be anything else announced for that. I don't know if they're still supporting it, but yeah, something that I am really, really, really expecting. I don't know if it's an expecting or a prediction, but I'm skipping away from. I'm skipping away from Ubisoft now, by the way, but I'm
Yeah.
really, really expecting a lot of. Let's just dive into it. A lot of Starfield information.
Yeah.
Like, it's been leaked a bit. There's been leaks. There's been this and that. There's been when is it coming? I would be very, very shocked if it isn't that. If Bethesda's portion of the Xbox conference doesn't focus on Starfield, and it be a gameplay. I don't think it'll just be a trailer of, oh, here's your in engine cutscenes. I imagine it will be a full gameplay reveal of what is actually happening. It will be 16 times the fucking detail, 16 times the information. It will be
just works.
Todd Howard on stage telling us lies, sweet little lies. No,
Yeah,
I'm fully expecting a lot of Starfield info.
Yeah, it has to be. Like the amount of uproar that happened last week or the week before with the leaked date being pushed back, and it was Jeff Grubb who got a lot of shit for. He said something about it. He just caught a lot of flack. But Jason Schreier and everyone came out and said, "Guys, like the release date is next year. It always has been."
Oh yeah, that's where there were some people saying, "Oh, it's coming out fall this year, or it's coming out before Christmas." And Jeff and then Jason, people were jumping in like, "It's really not. Just take us. It's really not." I wouldn't even think. Okay, that's not really. I don't expect to get a release date for.
Oh really?
Starfield. I predict we might. I'm dipping in there a little bit. I predict that we might get a release date, but I don't think we'll get a March 25th, 2022. I think we might get a fall 2022 or a summer.
Yeah, I'm expecting.
I think we're gonna get a loose
one or something.
Yeah. I'm expecting. I don't even think it's gonna be quarter 1. By the way, I think this is coming out late into next year. I don't think it's gonna be like.
Oh, really?
I don't think it'll be the Christmas release. But I would expect it maybe September next year.
Oh, I was expecting it kind of March, April.
I think while E3 didn't happen last year, and we had the Summer Game Fest to kind of tide us over, I think a lot of people are really expecting E3 to be a big swing this year, and it'll be just, here's a metric ton of fucking information. And maybe it will. Maybe there'll be a ton of information because it has been relatively quiet. But I still think we need to temper those expectations because this has been a pandemic year. Like, development on games has slowed. And I think we're only really starting to see the effect of it now.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at Destiny's the prime example, Witch Queen's been pushed to next year. Like, God of War got pushed back. Horizon's been pushed back. Everything's been pushed back. Everything's been pushed back to probably 6 months later than when it was originally planned. And I think we're only really starting to see the effect of that now, because if anything that was nearly finished by last March and it was in the polish stage, was nearly there anyway, so it could get pushed out in and around the planned release window. Last of Us 2, perfect example, that was delayed by 2 months, I think, or a month and a half or something. But I think anything that was a bit further back in development or needed a lot of work on it, like that's all been pushed away. I think that's all been pushed 6 to 9 months minimum back. Like there's just no way that some of that. So I think, yeah, I think it's probably later next year when we get that.
Okay.
But I do expect to see a lot of information. I reckon there'll be a good 15-minute segment on it by itself in that Xbox presentation.
I'm expecting them to have the gameplay on the couch, chatting away. You know, this is Starfield. This is what's going on. So
it is
I'd be very
interesting that it's
surprised
only
if
a 2-hour.
less.
I think it's only a 2-hour show though for Xbox.
Sure, they have no exclusives. What are you going to show?
Well, I think that's the other thing about the Xbox is this year that like the Xbox Series X and S have launched with no exclusives to their name. If there's any, they're single A games or double A. They're not very notable games. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Do you know what the funny thing about the Series X launch was? I got one for my brother. On the back, the whole thing is dedicated to Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
It's mental. And it's just like no release date, no nothing. Like that's...
Well, I think that's probably a good segue you've just stumbled upon to there, Stephen, because I would expect a Halo Infinite release date at E3. Like, a definite release date. I don't know if they've given it.
She didn't put any Halo in, yeah.
Maybe there is a release date already?
No. I think it's a loose March 22, wasn't it? But then didn't they come out and say that it's pushed back another 6 months?
I thought it was due to come out at the end of this year still, no?
No, it was pushed into March 22, fairly certain. Because you remember, I think it was March this year, they said that it would be at least one more year before it launched.
Gee, I didn't realize that.
I
don't think so. I think you are wrong. I think it's still due out in November of this year. Apologies if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's still due out in November this year. But I would expect the Xbox show to be mostly Halo Infinite. I think they'll show off a ton. They'll show off more gameplay, and I reckon they'll really deep dive on the multiplayer of it.
Yeah,
and then it will be November or whatever, 2021 or March 2020. I reckon there's a definite release date coming up at the end of Halo.
Oh, definitely. There'd have to be. I think if I am right and it's March, I think there's going to be riots, because that'll be 15, 16 months of a new gen console with no first party big hitter. Like that's...
I think if Halo is pushed back again, maybe Starfield might get that early next year release date, because they need to do so. It's all well and good saying, well, this is our pipeline, this is all coming, but at the end of the day, you must, like, they gotta be sitting there saying, but we want something now. Like PS5 has had it launched with Spider-Man and Demon's Souls. Returnal has just come out. Ratchet and Clank is coming out in a week. Like, there's 4 off the top of my head big PS exclusive titles that have come out before a single Xbox one has. So I think the Xbox conference is gonna be, they're gonna be hitting home runs everywhere, because they have to. They really have to.
This is the funny thing, though, isn't it? Because, like, for me, Microsoft have dropped the ball completely with the Series X. Not because the Series X is, underpowered or anything. That's not. It's because there isn't any exclusives. But where they're really knocking the ball out of the park is Game Pass.
Yeah,
and for
Yeah, I think
me,
you're right.
I'm really excited to see where to go with that. Like,
Yeah.
I think for me, if the Microsoft conference was all about like, here's the things that are coming to Game Pass and all these awesome stuff, I'd be like, hell yeah, because that benefits me as a non-Xbox player.
Hmm.
But if I was an Xbox player, I'd be fuming.
I think I partially disagree with your choice of words on that they've dropped the ball with the Series X. I don't necessarily think they've dropped the ball. I just think that their focus is elsewhere. Their focus is on the long term stuff, 100%,
Mm,
rather than just we need to sell 50 million consoles in the first quarter of 2021.
yeah.
Whereas I don't think that's necessarily their goal for them. Their goal is to set themselves up to take on the Googles and the Amazons, those
Oh
big,
yeah, no,
massive
100%.
companies.
Yeah.
And but you mentioned Game Pass, and I expect them to have some big hitters coming to the Game Pass day one. I expect some of these announcements to be day one Game Pass announcements, and it will be a lot of their first party stuff. But I don't know what games, but I expect them to have some sort of third party exclusive that is Game Pass day one that people will go, that's amazing, I want that. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be anything, but I'm expecting that to happen.
Okay. So your next expectation is a day one confirmation of a third party game.
I don't know what it's going to be.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
be.
that's a hard like
And I have
it's a
I have some predictions and maybe wildcards to slide into that same category, but I do think they will have something third party. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be fucking anything. That is day one Game Pass. Because obviously their first party stuff is all going to Game Pass day one. Or most of it anyway is going to Game Pass day one.
yeah. And actually, while you're on that, I'm going to jump in with my expectation, which is we're going to see the Grand Theft Auto 5 Series X gameplay
Oh,
showcase
100%.
as
Yeah,
well.
100%. I'd be
But
surprised. I'd be
jumping
very
in,
surprised if you didn't.
jumping in on your prediction, I think that'll be our third party game that goes to Game Pass day one. Because
Interesting.
they've already given away for free on the Epic Game Store.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a free upgrade for people anyway. So what better way for 2K or Take Two to get more money than give people a free game with the online cash system they
Yeah.
have?
Take Two have
And
their
that's
own
where they're going
show
to
now
rake it
as
in.
well. That's the crazy thing. Mm.
So I think using your prediction, I think that's our third party day one launch.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that. That's probably
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, I reckon
I,
so.
I reckon
just-
I reckon we do that does happen because GTA 5 got that next gen release date already, didn't it?
yeah, it's this year, isn't it?
I got a couple
October,
weeks
November.
ago. Yeah, I got a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting that. So that's my next expectation. And I have another expectation to do with the Series X, which is I think we're going to see the announcement and possibly some gameplay-ish of AMD's answer to DLS Super Fidelity. And I think this is Microsoft's time to bring it out and say, this is what DLSS looks like. And they'll showcase it with the Series S because that's their underpowered console. So here's a Series S.
You probably get a
4K.
side by side. You probably get a side by side.
Yeah, you might get like the native 4K 60 on the Series X to a upscaled DLS 4K 60 on the Series S. Just because that was only announced during the week, which, by the way, it supports the GTX 10 series cards. Fuck you, Nvidia. So
Could you imagine? Could you imagine a 10 series card trying to do that? Trying to pump out that sort of stuff? Insane. No.
Go on fire.
Yeah. Well, 1080 or Ti might do the job, but anything before that, and you're pushing them to their limits.
Mm-hmm.
DLSS is a wonderful thing, though. It really is such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, when that comes to consoles, that's going to be something that bridges the gap between the mid PC and your console. Yeah. And with the way things are, there'll be no argument for PC anymore.
In terms of what?
Well, just in terms if you're a gamer, like if you just want to play games and you're looking for the best price performance for, your graphics and your performance, I think if the DLSS implementation of Super Fidelity is any good, and it can rival that of if it can do 4K 60 and look good, that's most of the mid-tier PCs taken out of the way. You're not getting a mid-tier PC for even close to the price of a PS5 or Xbox Series S, the way they are with scalping prices at the moment. So I think if you're purely gaming, PC will not be the way for you to go. If you're doing other things, absolutely. Like, you're not going to go into your browser on the PS5 and Xbox. Well, you can Xbox.
I don't know if I agree with you, because we say this so often about consoles that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And then there's just some fucking generational leap happens with PC gaming. And it's just like, oh, well, you guys are left in the dust again. Maybe you are right. Maybe the gap is going to be closed, because like you're not going to get a PS5 or an Xbox costs what, 500 quid, 500 euro, and you're not getting a PC that can run 4K 60 games for 500 euro. You're simply not. And with the implementation of Discord coming to PlayStation next year, like that's huge as well.
Yeah.
Close the gap again.
Closing. Yeah. So what's your next expectation?
I had something for Xbox or Bethesda in my brain, expectation wise. I can't remember what it was. It's just gone out of my head again. So I'll move away from that because I've forgotten and go back to it. There's something that I expect to see is Pokemon Diamond, Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond gameplay. Like, we're 100% going to see gameplay for that, without a doubt.
Yeah.
What console it's on is up for debate, but I would expect to see gameplay for that. I would not expect to see gameplay for Arceus. I think they'll save that. I think they'll save that for their own Nintendo Direct outside of E3.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's
probably
I
a
think
good
E3
call,
I think E3 will probably take Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then they'll save Arceus for maybe August, September time, where they'll show that off on its own pedestal for the day. Because that's their next leap in the Pokemon series, is moving to that style game, maybe. And it depends again what console we see that shown off on.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a good segue in from there into speaking about that particular console. And I would expect to see an announcement of that at E3.
So you're putting that as a...
I would be shocked if they didn't announce it. I'd be shocked if they didn't announce it before E3, but I would be even more shocked if they didn't announce it at E3.
So you're putting that in as an expectation, not a
prediction. I'm expecting the Switch Pro to be announced within the next week and a half. With a release date and with a price.
I'm going to cut in and just say that I have that, but as a prediction.
Yeah.
And when we get to that, I'll talk about it why. But I would be shocked if we didn't hear anything about it. Like, if E3 went by and nothing was said about the Switch Pro.
If E3 goes by and nothing is said, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the reason I think I expect it to be shown as opposed to possibly it may happen is because look at all those games developers that are going to E3. Look at Nintendo's Direct. Look at all of that. They're going to be wanting to say, we have a game coming for the Switch Pro. And if they can't say we have a game coming for the Switch Pro because the Switch Pro has not been announced, like, you're blueballing so many developers there. Like, they want to they want to start their cycle of advertisement of all that for it. But I would be very, very, like, there's been a lot of build up to it in the last few days of, it's coming soon, it's definitely coming soon. I don't know when, but it's coming soon. And it's gonna, like, I'd be surprised if it wasn't announced by tomorrow or by next Friday. Like, I'd be surprised if it wasn't announced by the end of E3. Very surprised.
I'm very surprised Nintendo didn't try to jump in and do their direct before E3
Yeah.
to
Maybe
announce
they'll
it
keep it.
themselves, and then
Maybe they'll keep it
yeah,
for E3. Because I think their E3 showcase is reasonably short. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm looking at it wrong. It's probably their usual 2-hour slot. But
I think so. Yeah,
I would expect that to be shown at E3. And if it is shown at E3, I would expect a few third-party titles to be announced for it. Not the
I've got
new
a
ones. So not like Starfield or Elden Ring coming out for, but I mean stuff that's already been released to be
yeah.
announced as a Switch port. Because you know the way they have Control, for example, as you can play Control through the cloud on Switch. I reckon that will
Mhm.
be native like
Switch Pro
4K on
thing.
the Switch
Yeah.
Pro. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah. Um, Sticking with Nintendo, I'm just looking to see. I have a very safe expectation that we're going to see much more about Skyward Sword, seeing as it releases a month
Oh
later.
yeah,
So
100%. Yeah,
yeah, we're
100%.
gonna get a lot more information on what the port is, what they've changed. Um, Maybe if the Switch Pro is announced, we might get details on a Switch Pro variation. Um, Possibly
People go fucking
wild
wild for
card
those
there.
things.
Yeah, I know. I had to cancel my pre-order. Unfortunately, Nintendo made some
Like,
stupid
you
moves.
didn't have to. You decided to.
I decided to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nintendo are a fan of the old dumb decision. They really are. Like Nintendo do some wild things.
yeah,
Yeah.
they really do. It's upsetting. Um, but I think in terms of expectations for Nintendo, that's my lot anyway. I think yeah, Pokemon absolutely, and Skyward Sword. I have a few predictions and wildcards about Nintendo's conference, but I'll save those for
Yeah,
when we
we'll
get
save them.
there.
We'll save those.
Um, are you finished with Nintendo?
I think so. My Nintendo is really only used for Pokemon anyway, so and a bit of Zelda. We'll come back to Zelda, I guess, because that's probably
Yes,
later
we
on.
will.
Yeah.
We will.
So my next
Yeah.
expectation is going way back near the start, and it's from the Kosh Primetime one, which
Okay.
look, we got an announcement very recently about time splitters. I would expect to get a bit more information about it. How much information, I don't know, but I would expect some. I know it's very early in development, so I'm not going to be out here predicting we're getting gameplay or we're getting a trailer. I think we might get a title screen and a vague release window, maybe like a, I don't know, Time Splitters 3, whatever you call it, or whatever, and 2023 or 20, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not. I expect to hear more about Time Splitters.
Yeah. No, I think so. With the way that they came out there the week before, um, I think we might get some sort of like conceptual trailer where you
Mm.
have your title screen and maybe a glimpse of what the characters look like in the new engines. That is about it, and maybe a vague reference to a year. That's probably all you're getting.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get a whole lot more than that. To be quite honest with you,
Hmm.
trying to have a quick
Yeah.
look at the schedule. So I've got the schedule typed up for E3, but not the Summer Game Fest.
There isn't one for Summer Game
There
Fest though.
isn't. No.
Just literally, there are 25
Did you
developers.
actually see who the special guest is for the Summer Game Fest?
I did. I did.
What
I'm so amazed.
Jeff freaking Goldblum. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be wild having him on it.
He's been on a RuPaul a couple times, and the guy he's nuts, but he's great. He really is nuts, but he's
He is, yeah.
I do love him. Something else I would be expecting. It's going into that Warner Brothers showcase, and it's 2 in 1. I'll wrap two into one, and it is the Suicide Squad game and Gotham Knights. Like, we saw gameplay for Gotham Knights. I don't think we saw gameplay for Suicide Squad. We saw
No, that's good. Yeah.
we saw a trailer, the CGI trailer for for Suicide Squad. I think we're gonna get release date for at least one of them. I know I think Gotham Knights got a push back, didn't it? I think that got delayed not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Again,
did,
how can
yeah.
something be delayed that never had a release date? But I think we probably get a release date for one or both of them, and definitely a gameplay trailer for Suicide Squad, and obviously for Gotham
Yeah.
Knights. We've already seen gameplay for that, but we're gonna be getting a lot for that. I'm really interested in Gotham Knights. I think that looks really, really good. Suicide Squad, I was a bit more on the fence about, but if they can get Rocksteady's gameplay with Suicide Squad's humor, they could be onto something strong there. But it depends on what kind of game it is. They didn't really tell us anything about it. My worry about that game is that it's what was that game on PS4 where 4 people spawned in? You had to go hunt the monster.
Oh, Evolve.
Evolve. My worry for Suicide Squad is that it's an evolution.
That is a wild fucking prediction. Oh, if that
that's not a prediction.
Happens,
that's my worry. That's my worry that's what kind of game that is. And I really hope it's. I really hope that's what I got from watching the trailer, though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Go watch it again and have a look, because that's what it, like. If you read into it, that's what it sounds like. And I really hope I'm wrong. I hope that's a single player / co-op campaign, like Avengers was, only good.
We'll see. Yeah, no, I will get a Suicide Squad gameplay reveal.
I hope so.
And maybe a release window. Possibly.
It's probably 2022.
Yeah, I think late 22. Just looking through my expectations.
While you're looking there, I have one if you don't have. They've already spoken about it, so while I mentioned Avengers, we are getting there is information about Avengers expansion with Black Panther. Not that anyone gives a fucking shit. But that is already confirmed, so we'll get a lot of that at the Square Enix conference.
Yeah. I'd completely forgotten that a game existed.
I think most people have. I think it's been on sale since it launched.
Yeah, I have no interest. Maybe there's something come to Game Pass. Who knows?
I'd give it a shot if it was on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot, but I wouldn't be paying any money for it. Oh, actually, one thing I missed during the Xbox announcements or Xbox expectations was some sort of Gears of War announcement. I expect that we'll get something Gears of War related, whether it is a main series game or a spin-off like Tactics or something.
It's been a while since the last Gears game came out, hasn't it?
Yeah, Gears 5 was the last one, and then we had Tactics recently.
I'm not a Gears player, so I'm the worst person to even discuss it.
Oh. I played the first one, but I'm expecting something in that because that is one of their bigger IPs, and I think they need to show that they're still trucking ahead. The only I have 2 other predictions or expectations. So I think with Capcom being there, I'm fully expecting there to be a new Street Fighter game announced. We haven't had one in a while. No interest in playing it. I'm just fully expecting there to be Street Fighter 27.5 or something, whatever they're on now. Turbo Edition.
XVXX Part 2.7.
Yeah.
631.762.
Remastered. And my last one, and this is probably the biggest expectation I have, is we're finally getting PC2. Steam's answer to the Switch.
PC2.
We finally.
Oh, you actually mean the portable console, the portable Steam thing. I thought you were just completely memeing there for a second. I was just letting you have your moment with your meme.
No, I'm deadly serious. We're getting our portable computer too.
I think I was actually talking about this to Louise. Like, I think the one thing holding that back is the potential price point of it. But if that comes out at a reasonable price, like it could blow Nintendo's out of the water.
Yeah, and I expect to get an announcement in our summer period. I'd love it to
Yeah.
be E3. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
see,
like at the Steam Next Fest.
see,
Maybe we'll get it
Steam's
then.
Next Fest is generally a bit weird. It's generally a lot of indie titles, a lot of like
Hmm.
RTS games and that sort of stuff. It's generally not the place where you get big announcements.
Yeah, but I am expecting something to be said around that now.
Hmm.
I really, I think they they probably spotted an opportunity when the Switch came out
Yeah.
to scale down a PC and
Especially
get
with
your
where cloud gaming is going.
exactly
Yeah.
like they have Steam Link and stuff like that.
They have
So
everything. They have
if they
everything.
if they have a way to make that
Hmm.
really organic in a handheld system to play those games, like
Mhm.
having Xbox Game Pass on it and being able to like remote play your PS4
Just
or
everything.
PS5 and like
The,
it
the,
would
the,
it
the
would
days of the console are coming to a near end. It's gonna be a USB stick you shove into the back of your TV within the next 10 years, for the most
yeah.
part, anyway.
So
I think
that's my last biggest expectation.
I have a couple of expectations. I think at the Xbox show we'll probably get some sort of information on Hellblade 2. It's been a while since we've heard anything about Hellblade 2, so I'd expect to see something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, though, like the rest is all in predictions, really, for me. I think predictions is probably the bulkiest part of. I think we'll see this, but I'm not 100% sure. And if you don't have anything else, I think we should move in to predictions. I think
Yeah,
it's
and
quite funny that we didn't mention Elden Ring in expectations at all, and there's a reason for that, and it's a semi meme reason. But did you have something to say there before we move on?
no, just when we go into predictions, I'm gonna just jump in really quickly because you finished one there that I want to put in as a
Just
prediction.
before we go on to that, by the way, quickly, who have Star Wars rights at the moment? So EA have some. Bethesda have Indiana Jones rights, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Someone
Yeah,
else has a Star Wars game in development. I can't remember who it is.
yeah. I'm trying to remember.
Is it Ubisoft?
I think you're right. I think it is Ubi. I was thinking it was a Squeenix, but I think it's Ubi.
And obviously, actually, that's what it is. And it's more of a prediction, actually, so I can save it. It's about the EA conference with Respawn because they have Star Wars rights. If Respawn
Oh
have
yeah,
something, Respawn have a new IP. Sorry, yeah, that's fine. It's more of a prediction anyway, so I'll keep it for that.
yeah. So predictions, like we said, they're things we're half expecting to see, but we're not entirely sure.
Yeah,
They're not wild card outlandish. We have insights and inklings into why this would be a good time to come, but we're not 100% sure.
I
So when
think
you see something,
I think in a normal year, I'd be a lot more confident about seeing some of this stuff because it's E3. Like you watch E3 most years, you kind of go, 80% of what Xbox or Sony or whatever are going to show off, 100% of what Sony are going to show off because they've nothing. But like most of it, and then they get 3 or 4 curveballs, like, oh my god, there's a new Uncharted game coming out or something like that. But I think this year, I'm not too sure because, again, like I was saying, you don't know what the pandemic has done to development in some studios.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
as Destiny players, we've been kind of blessed that they've been able to pump out really quality content, by the way, over the last year.
yeah, it's true. Um, so just on the back of one of your expectations, I had Hellblade 2 as a prediction. Um,
For what?
I know we're for Xbox.
Yeah, but what's your prediction for it?
I think the prediction is that we will get information on it, possibly a gameplay reveal, but I think Hellblade 2 for me is one of those games that has probably suffered quite significantly in the pandemic. I think it was
I
probably
would
too
think so.
early. So I'm not expecting that we'll get a lot of information. I predict Hellblade 2 will make an appearance. I'm just
Yeah.
not sure what level that's going to be.
I would expect to see some sort of trailer for it at least. I would predict gameplay and maybe at a stretch a release window. But
It's
again,
one of those ones that I'm quite
not
iffy
sure.
on.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if it hasn't been impacted badly with development, it could be a good, we know Halo's coming, it's a bit delayed, here's your exclusive. It could be that kind of
Yeah.
olive branch. We're sorry we have no exclusives, here's a really good one. In reality, they're getting a new Forza.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, will we move on to the predictions we definitely both have?
Yeah, I've look. I'll go to the very, very obvious one. We had it as one of the photos in the title for the week. It's Elden Ring, and part of me expects to not see anything for Elden Ring as a giant FU to the leakers. That Miyazaki is at the stage where he's just like, you know what? I'm going to show you it a week before it launches and fuck the lot of yous. But in reality, which is where we apparently live, I would predict, I think we will get Elden Ring. That leaked gameplay trailer we saw, I think we'll see that whole thing at E3. However, I would predict that we will get a release date for it.
Ooh.
And it's not this year. I predict we will get Elden Ring next year. Because if you think Sekiro came out in 2019, which is 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 2 years since a game came from software, from software, came from those people. So apart from the fact that George R. Martin is working on it and couldn't finish something to save his life at this stage, I think we will probably get gameplay trailer. I don't think it'll be a deep dive gameplay. I think it'll be that gameplay. It'll be a 90-second trailer where it'll be half CG, half gameplay, and then I think we may get a release date. I hope. Or a release window. If they even just say 2022, I'll be happy.
Yeah, no, I've predicting that we'll definitely. Well, okay, I'm predicting we'll get gameplay revealed for Elden Ring. I'm wild carding that we're getting a release date. I think this game is such a meme at this stage that it's not coming out in the next year or two.
I think it almost works in their favor how much of a meme it is, though. Until it releases and shit hits the fan, like with Cyberpunk. By the way, I expect to hear absolutely nothing from CD Projekt Red at E3. They aren't gonna make an appearance. They will not be there.
No, they're not.
They will. They quite simply, if they're there, it will be Witcher 3 HD edition is out I think CD Projekt Red will just bury themselves in their work for the summer, and we won't hear from them at all. But moving back to Elden Ring, I think it is kind of working in their favor a bit, that it is kind of like the whole, and then when we do get information, it's like, finally we got something, and yeah. But I think, I don't know where it's going to be at. Will that be at the Xbox show? Will it be in Bandai Namco's one? I don't know where it's going to be. Will it be at the Summer Game Fest? Did Jeff Keighley manage to steal that for his show?
Could you imagine?
Jeff Keighley's no slouch in the gaming industry.
No, absolutely.
People have a lot of respect for, like, he got Jeff Goldblum and fucking Weezer to do the Summer Game Fest with him. Like, Jeff Keighley's no slouch.
No, he's punching so far above the weight of most people. Like, it's impressive that one man is so.
He's like prominent. Santa Claus for gaming. Like, he is gaming Santa Claus.
Like, you just know he's genuinely interested in it too. He's not just one of these, commentators who's like, oh yeah, I get paid for fake clout.
Don't get me wrong. He clearly gets paid a hell of a lot, but he gets paid for that.
He enjoys
passion.
it though.
He's brilliant. Yeah. But I think I'm gonna predict that his Summer Game Fest is going to be one of the best showcases throughout E3. I know it's not part of E3, but I think I think the only one that might rival it, if they hit the nail on the head, is Xbox's and Bethesda's. Now, we have seen Xbox conferences go horribly wrong, and they literally did U-turns before the fucking weekend ended. But I think the Summer Game Fest one, that whatever it is, 2 hour slot that he has on the 10th, which is next Thursday, by the way. Oh shit, we are gonna have to do a late podcast that night. But
we're not doing one that night because you also get Intergrade that day too.
Oh,
and Ratchet and Clank the next day.
I have it pre-ordered. Yeah, I pre-order games. Forgive me, internet. But yeah, I think we would get a lot out of his Summer Game Fest, and I wouldn't be surprised if he nabbed Elden Ring. I really wouldn't be.
Do you know what? He might have gotten He might have gotten something small with Elden Ring. Like maybe it's a teaser for expect more at E3. Maybe. You know, it might be a case of like he got something to hype people up for E3.
He has a lot though. Like he has a lot of exclusives coming at that. And I think that's where my next
10 worldwide premieres.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna go in. It's slightly wild cardish. It's slightly predicting, and there's a reason it's more prediction than wildcard, and it's to do with something that was said. And I know, by the way, I've got 2 in a row. I don't give a shit.
It's okay.
I'm gonna predict a new Tony Hawk's game.
I was thinking that I would love.
And there's a reason. Okay, not a new Tony Hawk's game. Let me correct myself. Another remake. I don't know if it's gonna be 3 or 3 and 4 together. But I'm going to predict it because the band CKY, who had a song, 96 Quite Bitter Beans.
Quite Bitter Beans. Yeah.
They had that on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Yeah.
One of them was on a podcast quite recently, and they were asking, oh, why weren't you on Tony Hawk's? Like, the remakes came out, why didn't you have a song on it? And he said, oh, we're on the next one. So, I'm going to... And it's slightly wild cardish, but I am going to predict we're going to get Tony. And it may be an expansion to Pro Skater 1 and 2. They may just tag it onto the end of it. And that's great because that game was fantastic. And it keeps it all in one tiny little package. But yeah.
Could you imagine if they tagged on the songs as DLC, but not number 3, the game?
I'd be so
that you could buy the CK. I could so see that happening.
It's such an Activision thing to do.
That is definitely going to be what they do.
And you know what? If that's the case, what's the company? Vicarious Visions got absorbed into Activision. I could see that being possibly a thing, that they'd finish working on that and then Activision said, right, you're done. You're with us now. I hope so, because I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. It was so good.
I loved that one. It's my favourite one. I'd love that to come out.
Yeah. Darth Maul and Wolverine and all.
Yeah. And the Nervesoft Eye as well. Such a good game.
And by the way, I'll add on to that prediction that would be at the Summer Game Fest, not at E3 itself.
Okay. That's a good one.
Because if you remember, he had the Pro Skater 1 and 2 last year. He got that.
We did,
year. So that's why I'm predicting it. It's slightly wild card. It's a bit more wild card than I thought it was, but yeah.
I know. I see the logic. I like it. I hope it works now. Yeah. So under predictions, I predict that we will get a release window for Breath of the Wild 2. Now, I'm not putting a release date on it because I have a wild card that lines up with my prediction that I'm expecting. And I know we've already touched on it, but I have under prediction that we'll get confirmation of the Switch Pro. And the reason it's a prediction, not an expectation, is because of Nintendo's bullshit and how they like to cockblock people and make really bad decisions.
Be Nintendo.
So I'm predicting we'll get a release window, not a date, for Breath of the Wild 2. And then I have a very juicy wild card to go with that as well.
Yeah, I think we probably get information about Breath of the Wild 2. It's been 2 years since it was announced. We probably get something. Whether that's just another CG trailer or it's actual gameplay, I don't know. But and I would predict that will cap the show. That will be the
Yeah, there would have
oh,
to
we've
be.
got one more thing. Um, yeah. Can another year go by without a Breath of the Wild 2 information?
I would be very shocked if it didn't appear in our summer months. Like,
Yeah.
to have no announcement about that would be a huge. To announce the Switch Pro and not to announce Breath of the Wild 2, to line up with it at all, would be great. Although it's Nintendo, so they probably will do it.
It's Nintendo, yeah.
So
Speaking of Nintendo and the Switch Pro, I will maybe predict that they will have some sort of third-party exclusive to the Pro over the original version. So I think that I don't know. I think we'll actually get several, to be honest, third-party games announced for this. I think we get the likes of that games like Hitman that came out in the last couple of years that was on the cloud for them. I think all of them will probably play natively on Switch Pro. However, if the Switch Pro is announced, and here's this is a multi-tiered prediction. The Switch Pro is probably going to be announced. If it is announced, I'm going to predict that Bungie don't have anything at E3 apart from a crossplay trailer announcement that's going to go live in the next season of Destiny, which is because we're mid-season. Like, it doesn't line up for Bungie to come up and go, oh, here's the new season of Destiny, because we've still got the Solstice of Heroes or whatever it is that's coming up in the next month to bring us to, and we've still got like, is it 8 weeks left of this season? So it's too early for Bungie to go, here's our next seasonal expansion. But I think Bungie, and I think it'll be at the Xbox show, Bungie will say, here's crossplay is coming in whatever, September. Blah, 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 here's crossplay. But I'm going to predict that if the Switch Pro is coming, that Destiny is going to be on the Switch Pro. And
that's a fair prediction.
Yeah, because I think Destiny would run horrendously on a Switch. Docked, non-docked, forget about it. But yeah, I'm going to predict that Destiny will be announced for the Switch at their show. And you'll get the likes of Apex. It'll be announced that Apex is getting a 1080p 60 FPS upgrade for the PS Pro, for the Switch Pro. But I think that Destiny is going to be announced for the Switch. I'm not going to say I'm pretty confident because I don't know anything about fucking gaming really. But I'm going to predict that Destiny will be on the Switch.
No,
and it may not be till Witch Queen. It may not be till Witch Queen, but I'm going to predict it'll be on it.
Actually, Witch Queen be the best time, and then release the Legendary Edition again with Forsaken, Beyond Light, Shadowkeep, and Witch Queen. No, that's
that's my two Bungie. I think there's two Bungie announcements there, and I think crossplay is probably going to be announced for every activity. Opt-in, obviously, for console to PC players for PvP, even though it really doesn't fucking matter on the new consoles, but that's a different story for a different day. But I think crossplay will be announced by Bungie at E3. I think. And it will be part of the Xbox show.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. I didn't see Bungie at all in there, so I actually didn't even think of including them.
They don't really have a massive presence at E3. They generally just appear as part of the PlayStation show in recent years, or in previous years, or as part of the Xbox show in more recent years.
Yeah, and they normally have a presence at Gamescom as well, actually.
I think they go much bigger at Gamescom because it lines up with their September release window for a content drop. That's generally why I think. I'm gonna put that's gonna be my shot. Is that crossplay for Destiny gets a formal announcement? We obviously know it's coming. We've had the crossplay beta, but I think it gets a formal announcement at E3 this year.
Okay, that's I'm sold on that one anyway.
Could you
Another
imagine Destiny on
prediction.
the Switch? It'd be amazing.
That's the problem. I'd never put it down.
Yeah,
I could actually just grind out stuff
for
like when
silly
watching
things.
TV.
Just for silly things.
Yeah.
Like I like to bring my Switch to work for play on the bus sometimes. Could you imagine like, Kev, you on your lunch? Jump in, do a couple strikes. Yeah, no problem. I'll hotspot my fucking Switch. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Not that I can't already do that with xCloud, but still, doesn't matter. Not the point.
Actually, thanks for that. So, my prediction is that the browser extension for xCloud will be open to everyone who has Game Pass. It won't just be the beta invite, because I have that and it's pretty good. I imagine they'll announce that it's now for all Game Pass members.
It'll be what's the woman that does I can't think of her name. She's fairly high up in Microsoft. She'll be the one. She does it every year. She deals with all the Game Pass stuff and xCloud stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a prediction. I didn't put it as an expectation because I think it might be just a little bit too soon. But I do expect that we'll see some sort of announcement on even broadening that beta out a bit more, maybe making it the open beta rather than invite only. In terms of other Xbox announcements, I have one here that probably is more wildcard than prediction, but I'm predicting that we're getting an Xbox exclusive Square Enix game.
I fully agree.
So we heard about Final Fantasy Origins. I suspect we're getting something along the lines of Octopath Traveler or the Dragon Quest games. I think something in that more traditional JRPG approach is what Xbox are going to want to do, because they've been lacking in the JRPG areas.
What about if they have the next Tomb Raider game as an exclusive?
I didn't even think. Do you know what? I didn't even think of that, and that's such an obvious one. That is so fucking obvious.
They have had Tomb Raider. They had them on
for a year,
a time. What if the next Tomb Raider is just fully boom? Or no, that's not Square. Never mind.
Did you say Bethesda had Indiana Jones?
Bethesda do have Indiana Jones, and that is 100% an Xbox exclusive. Just like Starfield is Xbox exclusive. Anything that has not been released yet for by Bethesda that has not been confirmed as a PlayStation title is exclusive. 100%.
I had it in my head that Square Enix owned the rights to Indiana Jones, but
no,
they clearly don't. I don't know why I had that in my head. Anyway, so I suspect we're getting some sort of Square Enix Xbox exclusive. Didn't think of Tomb Raider, but that's really fucking obvious. So that might go up to expectations now. And then I'm just looking to see. So finally on Xbox, actually, do you know what? I have two more on Xbox. Will I just throw them out there?
Go on.
I think we're getting a release year announced for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, that is oh no. That's wild card. That is wild card.
I think that's a prediction.
Okay, I'm gonna predict, and we can put a monetary amount on this if you want. I'm gonna predict that Elder Scrolls 6 makes 0 appearance. I think the maximum we might get is Elder Scrolls 6 still in development. Like
it just works.
I don't think we're gonna hear anything. I think Bethesda's show is gonna be a lot of Starfield, and maybe something Wolfenstein if there's something Wolfenstein out. Here's my next prediction: is that we're getting a release date for the next gen version of Skyrim. And and no, it's gonna come. It's 100% happening. I'm gonna predict. Let me just check this. I'm gonna predict that it is literally gonna come out on the 10-year anniversary, which is the 11th of November.
Yeah,
11th of November, 11. It's gonna come out the 11th of November, or maybe the Tuesday that week or the Friday that week. But I think it's the next gen version of Skyrim is coming out now with more light shafts. But I don't think we're getting it. I think Don't get me wrong. I want something for Elder Scrolls 6 to be announced. I like 100% want stuff, but in my opinion, it's wild card because of how far out it is. Because I think Bethesda is going to be Starfield, maybe something Indiana Jones. It might be something very little, a vague story direction. Maybe something Wolfenstein. Bethesda. What else does Bethesda have? Maybe Doom. What's the new Doom game? The latest one? Eternal in VR. We might get the VR version of that. But I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Let's put a Nando's on it.
Let's put a Nando's on it. Actually, that works. No, it's the day after. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get the Nando's, and the loser has to transfer the winners.
I mean, that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Total sense.
Yeah.
But no, I would be very surprised if.
I think we're getting a release year. I think we're gonna get something. We're gonna get that trailer again where they have just a scroll out of the Imperial City or wherever it was, and I think underneath it will be 2023, 2024, something. I
think your release window is probably accurate. 2023, 2024 is probably accurate. I just don't know. It depends. It really depends on how much Xbox can pump in quickly to get that going. But if Halo Infinite's any indication. However, I will predict that Todd Howard will wear a lovely brown shiny leather jacket on stage.
With patches.
Yeah. I have another prediction involving Xbox and Bethesda, so I can throw it in there. And it might be the same one. Actually, you had another one, just in case I'm going to steal it. Go on. What's your other one?
No. I think we may have the same one. Is it a sequel to a game?
I don't know if it's a sequel to a game or a reboot of a game.
Okay, we're doing the same one then. Mine's Outer Wilds 2 gets announced.
Ooh. I did hear some mumblings about that.
Yeah.
I think we're putting a lot of faith on Bethesda announcing a lot of games at E3 this year. It's gone from Bethesda are the worst. They're shit. They're as bad as EA and as bad as that. And I was like, Bethesda are gonna announce this and Bethesda are gonna announce that. It's like, yeah. I made a very good joke. I made a very good joke actually last night during one of the raids about Bethesda. We were talking about E3 shit. And we were saying about how the Skyrim Next Gen Edition is probably going to be brought out at the end of the year. And Dan, I think, went, "Oh, they still beating that horse?" And I says, "Yeah, but the horse is still alive because it had armor on."
Fuck's sake! And I can't believe Dan's making that joke, considering he's just playing Skyrim
and loving it, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so Outer Worlds 2, maybe. I would have thought it might have been a bit early. But, wait. That's not Bethesda, though. That's Obsidian. Sorry. I apologize to Obsidian. It's Xbox. Yeah, that could be a very good shout. Because it is Obsidian, it's not Bethesda. I do apologize to all the developers who work at Obsidian. It's clearly a touchy subject. Yeah, maybe. My other one, Xbox have some great exclusive coming. They're all just quite far away. I'm gonna predict we get a gameplay trailer for Fable, though.
Ooh,
you forgot about Fable.
I forgot about Fable.
Xbox, the best place to play all of your fantasy games. Yeah, I think
I love Fable.
A release date might be a bit early. But
no, I think you're right. It might be early.
I think gameplay for Fable is, I'm gonna say it probably, because that's big. Like Fable's massive. Like Fable's got a massive following.
Oh, I love Fable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you anything else to throw in there under Xbox?
No, I only have one other prediction, but it's not specific to Xbox.
Okay. I have one more for Xbox quickly. I'm gonna predict that every first-party Xbox game will be Game Pass day one. Every single one of them that gets coming to Xbox will have Xbox and Game Pass day one.
Clarify. Console or console and PC?
See, they kind of mix and match that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
it's a
I
pain in
think
the hole.
most of the games I want to play come to both. There's a few that, like the likes of Destiny at the moment, there's only console, which would be great to play with Xbox people. But I think every first party title or umbrella title will be Game Pass day one. Will be announced as Game Pass day one. That's probably a brave prediction, but I think that's the direction that they're gonna go. I really think. I think everything's gonna be Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. Games are gold.
I think they
Game
want everyone paying Microsoft money to play the game. They will pay a fortune to have the rights for Game Pass, but they want everyone and their mother on Game Pass. They don't want you on the Xbox specifically.
They don't care where you play. They don't care if you play it through a browser on your PS5. They can launch a browser on your PlayStation 5 as long as you're in our ecosystem. Welcome.
Vince McMahon with the money. That's what they are.
So I have another prediction. You have your prediction. Actually, that's not Xbox.
No, go on. I had a few of them. Go on. No, I went through a few.
Fire ahead. I'm not speaking, so fire ahead.
Right. So my last prediction is that we get an announcement of a new Assassin's Creed game, or, as we said before, potentially more DLC for Valhalla. But I'm predicting more strongly towards the announcement of a new Assassin's Creed game. We won't get any sort of trailer or gameplay. It will just be something maybe along the lines of Assassin's Creed, whatever.
I don't think we'll get a mainline Assassin's Creed game, because I think
it might be more like.
I think we might get a mobile. I think we might get a mobile Assassin's Creed game, or bit wild card, possibly something for the Switch.
Maybe if the Switch Pro is announced, we'll get Valhalla for the Switch Pro.
I don't think so. I don't think that'll be. I think Valhalla will probably blow up a Switch Pro. I think we might not see a lot about Assassin's Creed at E3 this year. I think it might just be the next expansion. Because they tend to announce their games by the... Remember the Valhalla announcement was literally... Someone was on Twitch doing art for 4 hours. Like, they tend to not announce Assassin's Creed games at E3. They tend to do... they tend to give you games...
like a year before... Isn't it? It's like kind of nearly a year on launch. They kind of go, oh, here's the next one.
And then they give gameplay at E3. But I don't think they'll announce an actual new title at E3. Personally.
Yeah.
However, I do predict that they will announce Splinter Cell in another game. Not an actual Splinter Cell game. That's a wild card.
You know, it's probably going to be
Sam Fisher. Sam Fisher is going to Fortnite. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Could you imagine that though? It's the end of the show. They show off something big like a new Assassin's Creed game. That's not going to be the case. And it all ends, and it all goes quiet. The lights go out, and then it's just vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
And like people would go like, I'm not a huge Splinter Cell fan. I'll be honest, I'm not. I much prefer Metal Gear Solid, which by the way is not going to get anything ever announced for it again. But I'll come back to that later on. But people would go fucking wild for that. Like, I don't care who you are at Ubisoft. You gotta be tone deaf if you're not making a new Splinter Cell game. People will play anything Splinter Cell. It's been that long. People want the new Splinter Cell game. Like, just give the people what they want.
I'm just imagining now that you're gonna have this moment where the lights go on for Sam Fisher, and then all you're gonna see is him doing the floss or something. Like Sam Fisher goes into Fortnite. Like, oh my god,
has that happened before? Has that happened yet? I don't know. Has he been in Fortnite? I don't
I
play
don't think so.
Fortnite,
No,
so I don't
no,
know.
no. I don't
Alright.
think he has.
Okay, my last prediction really probably like that. I think it was Ubisoft that had the Star Wars game, and if it is, I predict we might hear something about it. But I will predict that we hear whatever not Origin, whatever Respawn's new IP is. I think we'll hear about that.
Hmm.
Whether that's a new Star Wars game we hear about or not, I think we will hear about Respawn's new game. Because they are working on a brand new IP, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. They've announced that.
I think they said they were, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we'll hear what that is.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten. And actually, as you're talking to Star Wars, weren't there rumors that there's a Knights of the Old Republic
Yes.
remaster remake?
Yes,
I
I
can't
did.
remember who was responsible
It's
or what's going
Respawn.
on.
Respawn are responsible for KOTOR, aren't they?
Can't remember. So maybe that goes
I
into a
thought it was
prediction.
Respawn. Give me 2 seconds just to clarify. Knights of the Old Republic. BioWare. Sorry, BioWare. EA. So yeah,
BioWare, that's
BioWare.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Maybe
reckon.
maybe something there.
Yeah. No, I will be. See, that's not at E3 exactly. That's not till July, by the way. That's not till the 22nd of July. So it's a bit further out. So, but yeah, I reckon we get some Star Wars news at that 100%.
Oh, EA Play Live, yeah.
EA finally making the most of the Star Wars license. But yeah, I think
After it
we
was taken off
probably
them.
yeah. I reckon we probably hear something at that about
Mm.
Star Wars about Respawn's IP, which is not going to be anything to do with Titanfall. My last couple of predictions are really around that Geeked Week Netflix thing. Like I reckon we get a trailer for the new Witcher season because it got a poster today. So I reckon we
Yeah.
get a trailer plus release date for that. I don't think that's too far away. Maybe something for the Division movie or series, whatever it is. But other than that, I don't really know what else there is. Like it's like this Cuphead stuff, and there's that movie. We'll probably get something for that, but who cares? I don't anyway. What do people do? Have you any other predictions before we move on?
Predictions, no. No, well, you see, this is the thing. I have like a Summer Games Fest list as well, but I'm not dipping into that. So I might fly through those if you've time at the end.
Go ahead now if you want. We've got plenty of time.
Well, I missed some of my expectations, but under predictions for Summer Games Fest, I have new Star Wars game announcement. I think
People
we'll get
love
an update
Star
on.
Wars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the ultimate high fantasy power trip. Um, I think we're getting up information on Amazon's New Worlds. Is that their MMO game?
Oh lord, that game is gonna be dead on arrival. But yeah.
Yep. I think we'll get a gameplay trailer for Harry Potter Legacy. Or is it Legacy? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
So yeah, we probably actually should
Um,
have gone back to that under Warner Brothers. I predict we get gameplay for that.
yeah. I think because it's supposed to be holiday this year that it comes out, isn't it?
It got pushed to
Oh.
next year though.
Oh, did it? Okay. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
I think
predicting.
I think we get gameplay for that game.
Yeah.
At the Warner Brothers one probably. Or
Yeah.
maybe in the Xbox one, but I'd say in the Warner Brothers one.
I think the Warner Brothers one.
Yeah.
I'm predicting that we get a Bioshock announcement. I think it's
Who do
long
Bio?
past
That's
time.
Take Two, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're under Take Two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
probably.
long past time since we've gotten Bioshock news. Something to do with Saints Row. There was like the
Yeah.
third remastered. I think we're gonna get maybe something on. I've never played them. I suspect we might get something there. And the last prediction is that we're going to get a Genshin Impact announcement for the Switch Pro.
That's
think
probably quite likely. Like, I think that's probably quite likely That just got announced for the Epic Game Store as well, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it just got announced for the Epic Game Store today.
I think the reason I have in prediction is because I have the Switch Pro announcement as prediction. So I was like, well, if Nintendo do their fucking normal shit, then this is probably
I think
rather than expectation.
Nintendo are going to do something daft. They always do.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be something... they're probably going to do something really daft with Pokemon. Again.
Arceus will be exclusive to an amiibo that you have to pre-order.
It wouldn't surprise me. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. But that's all my predictions then as well. So I forgot to look at my Summer Game Fest list.
What, just to go back on it, what were the expectations for that? We can just say the predictions.
So, under Summer Games Fest, I'm expecting we'll get some sort of kind of just showcase trailers for FS7 Intergrade and Endwalker, just because they've been announced, and it's the day that Intergrade comes out, so I think they'll be hyping that up. I think we'll get a release date and some gameplay for that game Stray, where you play as the cat.
Yeah. No, that's a PlayStation game.
Yes, so Summer Game Fest. You not think we'll get something there?
Maybe.
Because it's an indie game, I think.
No,
I think it's...
Yeah, it's Annapurna, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I think they're producing that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Battlefield 6. We get
100%. I actually think that'll be before E3. I think that... No, that is before. They already said that. Didn't they say it's on the 9th?
Yeah. Well, I have it down as Summer Games Fest. This is what I... Yeah. Horizon Forbidden West, I think we're going to get that trailer again, but with the additional details that came out today, like the 60 FPS option, all the extra details.
Maybe.
Some stuff is pushed out today. We might get that as a...
Maybe.
An additional... I think we'll get some Kena or Kenya, whatever way it's pronounced.
Oh yeah, Kena will. Yeah, Kena will get will get a deep dive gameplay. I actually fully expect that to get a big gameplay thing. Like that release date's August. I think that'll get a good 5-minute slot somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And then the final expectation is something to do with Among Us on the PlayStation 5.
Fair enough.
So, my expectations / predictions for now.
I have one more kind of out there prediction. It might be a bit of a wild card, but I'm putting on the prediction because I think it's after the release date for Intergrade. I think we're gonna get... I don't know where it's gonna be. My mom's ringing me. I think we're not most likely, but I'm gonna predict that we'll get Final Fantasy VII Remake, the Xbox announcement for it. I'm gonna say it may not be coming to PC specifically. I'm gonna predict that it'll be Xbox Game Pass game, and you'll be able to get it on PC through the Xbox app.
Stop robbing my wildcards, man. Why are you doing this to me?
See, I don't think I think that's probably a wild card for E3, but I don't think that's a wild card in the grand scheme of things. In that it's gonna come eventually.
Yeah.
But I think now the year of exclusivity is up as of April. So I think an Xbox announcement for Final Fantasy VII is quite likely possible. However, if it isn't an Xbox game and Game Pass day one, I think it could be kept for the Square Enix show, where they announced the PC port of it. And maybe it's not coming. Maybe it's not going to come to Xbox. Maybe Sony have some sort of agreement there where it's only allowed to go to PC.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I think we hear something about Final Fantasy VII on other platforms at E3 this year.
Yeah.
However,
I purely put it down. Go on.
However, I won't be surprised if we don't.
Yeah, I think it's one of those really iffy ones where
you don't know.
It makes sense to announce it, but it makes sense that it won't happen.
I wonder if we get anything at the Square conference about Final Fantasy 16, because that is a PlayStation exclusive. And I wonder, do PlayStation want to keep that for their own one, or will Square show off something? Maybe a release window. Maybe just that.
I
Maybe that what we've seen already, but extended.
What's that other Square game with? They showed something recently, and it's I don't think it's PlayStation exclusive, but it's like was there a dragon or something? It's this weird fantasy.
I'm not sure.
Oh, does it begin with A? Is it?
Oh, I know what game you're talking about. Project Athia.
That's the one.
It got an actual title though. I can't remember. Yeah, I reckon we might actually see something for that. However, I think that might be PlayStation exclusive. I could be wrong on that.
Well, if it is, I think we might see that over.
It might be PlayStation plus Epic Game Store.
Yeah, I think if we're going to see anything that's PlayStation exclusive, it would be that over 16, I'd say.
I can't remember what the title of that game was. They gave that game a title.
Yeah, I remember they gave it a title. I'm gonna.
Are you looking it up? Now. Yeah.
That's
yeah, I think I'm probably out of probable predictions there. We'll obviously get a lot of indie stuff at the PC Gamer Show because they love to fill that full of that sort of stuff.
Forspoken.
Yeah, I hope we see more about that. I don't know what Gearbox have to show off at E3. They have something, but
Borderlands 3, the Epic Ultimate Edition. Yeah.
Oh, and crossplay for that actually. Yeah. Plus,
except for PlayStation.
What's that game? The hack and slash that I can't think of the name of it. That was a Gearbox game as well. That came out alongside the PS5. King's something, was it? Or something Fall? Godfall.
Oh god, God awful.
God awful. That might get some sort of DLC announcement maybe. I don't know what else Gearbox really do. Shall we move on to the wild cards?
I'm really looking forward to this one.
I think we should try keep it somewhat short and sweet, not carry on for too long.
I don't think we need to discuss. Yeah. We don't need to discuss them because I think some of them are just, they're wild. There's no.
Yeah. One more actual quick prediction though. I reckon in the Bethesda show, the way Bethesda have those couple of PlayStation games that are coming out.
Yeah,
we'll get information about more. We get gameplay about those. But moving on from them, something loop. I don't know what it is. Anyway, go on, Stephen. You're sitting there on the edge of your seat. What's your first crazy out there wild card? That's probably not going to happen, but you hope it does. Prediction. I think I think we've looked at this different ways. I think you've looked at this from a this is probably never going to happen thing, where if I've gone, this is coming at some stage.
Some of mine are, this would be mental if this happened, but I could see it happening. But also, realistic, I don't know if it'll happen now, but this is in the pipeline. This is one. So this one I will caveat with, this is absolutely mental if this happens. But considering who it is, it probably fucking will.
I think I know where you're going.
Breath of the Wild 2 will be a Switch Pro exclusive.
I would not be surprised.
When I was thinking, what thing would Nintendo do to fucking screw over people? And of course, make the biggest game they've ever made exclusive to their newest console.
I don't think it will be Breath of the Wild 2 will be that exclusive game. But I do think that they will have some first-party games that will be Switch Pro only.
Let me move on to my second wildcard prediction about the Switch Pro. Bandai Namco will have a game exclusive for the Switch Pro. Elden Ring. No.
How can a game that doesn't exist be exclusive to a console?
But I do think they will get something maybe along the lines of Code Vein, that more kind of anime Souls-like type game. I could see something like that happening for the Switch Pro, where they need a big hitter third party to show that it's like, hey, our console has fucking meat to it.
Yeah, I think that Nintendo Direct will have a lot of stuff. Here it is running on the Switch Pro. Here it is running on the Switch Pro, and it will showcase the Switch Pro. It wouldn't surprise me if Pokemon Legends Arceus was a Switch Pro exclusive. Judging by what we
Yeah,
saw, the gameplay of it, and it was very, very framey. And
yeah.
I know that was obviously in early development, and it was obviously an older thing that we saw, but that was framey as fuck. It wouldn't surprise me if that ended up being Switch Pro exclusive.
We might see Switch Pro enhanced as the thing that they do, maybe not exclusive, but that's my first wild card.
Okay.
Or 2 wild cards.
2 wild cards. Okay. I'm gonna go in with the one that I don't know if it's actually wild card or it's possible at this stage. I think that a new Hideo Kojima title might be announced at E3 as an Xbox exclusive.
Ooh.
As an Xbox,
actually,
as an Xbox/PC Game Pass exclusive.
Because there was talk
I know
discussions.
Yes, there was, and I know that somebody will give me a lot of grief for saying that because there's no way that Kojima would do that to PlayStation. However, if you put a big enough bag of money in front of somebody, exactly, they will do it. And I think Kojima is clearly working on a new game or a new something. We don't know what it is yet. I'm assuming it will be revealed fairly soon because Death Stranding is 2 years old now. I think we see something.
2018?
3, it's even more fucking hell. I think we see something from Kojima at E3 this year. And maybe it won't be Xbox exclusive, but I think it will be shown during the Xbox show.
It could even be Game Pass Day 1, but also launch on PlayStation and stuff.
Or it will be during the Summer Game Fest. As the final thing, here is a very special guest, Mr. to show off. And it will literally be a title screen with something going on. And everybody like, what is going on? But it will be amazing. And I will double down on that wild card and say that that's too wild card. Even for me, that's too much.
No, go on, go for it. Let's hear it. Spin foil hat, let's go.
Microsoft will buy the rights to Metal Gear Solid and give it as a little gift wrap package to Hideo Kojima as long as he develops it as Xbox exclusive.
I was going to say something very similar.
Could you imagine the fumes? Like, I could actually, like, so much of the East would just explode in anger. It would be fantastic. It'd be great.
I'd love to see it just for that reaction. Because it doesn't affect me. I'll get to play it anyway.
Or Silent Hill.
So that was a wild card that I had.
Yeah. So I think Kojima's next title is going to be a horror game. I don't know why. It's just a good feeling. I think his next title is going to be a horror game. It may not be Silent Hill. It will be Hill is Silent. It will be... No, but it will be a horror game in the same...
It's a spiritual successor.
Yeah, a spiritual sister of Silent Hill.
Yeah. I had that as a wild card, as I think we are getting the spiritual successor to Silent Hill. And because it's long overdue, they still have that relationship, Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus.
Like everyone loves Kojima. They really do.
Yeah. I have it wild card, but I would be shocked if we didn't get some sort of announcement along the veins of a horror game from Kojima.
Yeah, I'm predicting that Kojima will announce a new game at E3. I'm predicting he will announce something new at E3, but my wild card is that it will be for Xbox.
Do you imagine, just off the back of what you're saying, if Microsoft bought Konami and just said, hey, guess who we're installing his head? Hideo Kojima.
Do you know what? I don't think Microsoft will buy Konami. What I could see possibly happening down the line is Microsoft buying the rights to those IPs. Because Konami have kind of moved away from video game development into their pachinko machines. But I can see someone going to Konami and saying, we want Metal Gear Solid, or we want Silent Hill, or we want Pro Evolution Soccer, and buying
We want your video game library.
I could possibly see that happening. And then Konami will say, you can have it, but that fucker's not allowed to work on them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would love for something like that to happen.
I think, like, there's a lot of story still to be told from the Metal Gear universe. And I don't think Konami are... I think Konami with Kojima were the developers that tell those stories. But I think Konami... We've seen what they did with Metal Gear Survive. Whether it was a good game or not isn't up for whatever. It was the... It wasn't Metal Gear. I was the same with Metal Gear Solid 5. It wasn't... Didn't feel like Metal Gear. So...
Yeah. Right, so sticking with Japan, I assume. I'm wildcarding that we're going to get a Devil May Cry 6 tease from Capcom.
I hope so. I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
5 did so well. Was so well received. I would love to see them continue it on. So that's a wild card for me.
I don't see why not. I think anything else I have. I think Xbox will probably not show off anything from the reboot of Perfect Dark. I think it will be a wild card to say that they will show off stuff from that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest wild card I can pull out of my bum is that we will get information on Remake Part 2. I'm gonna come out and say it, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, because it's not gonna happen. But if it's there, I'll be very happy. I think that's gonna be for whatever PlayStation have their own thing later on down the line. It's not gonna be at this.
Do you know what? I'm predicting we're not getting that in this round of video game shows. No. I reckon that's later in the year
or next year.
Yeah.
I reckon they might keep that for next year when there is people in Stadia and theaters again, so they can get that crowd reaction.
Yeah,
we'll see.
They want that Avengers moment.
We'll see. Yeah.
It sounds like you don't have many wild cards.
I have a few crazy, like ridiculous things, like, but nothing too out there. I'm just looking. Is it possible, at all possible, that we get our deepest, darkest wish?
I have down here wildcard. We get Bloodborne 2.
Oh, that's even wilder. No, not until after Elden Ring comes out. No, not a chance. If even then. My wildcard was that we get either one of two things. An upgraded Bloodborne on PlayStation, which I don't think will happen. I think if anything gets the upgrade treatment to PS5, it'll be Sekiro. But we get if we looked into that mirror with Harry Potter, we would see Bloodborne on PC.
I had all that down.
Because
Bloodborne
I think
2, Bloodborne PC, Bloodborne remastered on PS5,
Bloodborne Racing, Bloodborne card.
Yes,
I think a Bloodborne 2 would probably be tied into some sort of deal with PlayStation.
Yeah,
but a Bloodborne on PC would be a Bandai Namco announcement to make.
Yeah,
I think it is a wild card. It is a wild card, but it is possible. It is possible.
Yeah. I think if there's any Bloodborne announcement, it's probably Bloodborne PC or Bloodborne PS5, the upgrade edition, potentially. Oh yeah, okay. So hold on, where am I?
Spit your wild cards at me.
All right, so another wild card is the announcement of the Switch Pro release will be holiday this year.
Oh, that's not wildcard. Have you been following the information that's coming out? That is coming out before holiday this year. That Switch
Again,
Pro.
Nintendo,
No, the Switch Pro. This is my prediction, not a wild card. That will be out before Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
maybe. I can see Nintendo fucking this up big time.
No, I don't think they will. I think the Switch Pro will be out very soon. Very, very soon.
I hope so. I really do. Another wild card is the FF7 remake going to PC Game Pass.
Speaking of Game Pass, I have a wild card for you. I think you're about to say it. Game Pass on Switch.
Yes, Game Pass for the Switch.
Could you imagine? xCloud on Switch?
Even just the native.
Even
Xbox
fucking
Game Pass,
Nvidia, fucking what you call that
GeForce
shit?
Now.
GeForce Now on Switch. Anything on Switch. It's made for it. Come on, Nintendo. Come on.
That's why I think if Steam released the PC too, and it has all that functionality, the Switch is dead in the water.
The only thing you have a Switch for is Pokemon and Zelda and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but is that worth? It's going to be 400 quid, is what they're predicting. Is that if the Steam is worth 400 or 500 quid, are you going to pay that for the Switch Pro? I
think that Steam machine, whatever you want to call it, I think that's going to be the cost of a 3080.
That's still only.
I reckon it's going to cost about $1,000.
I can see it being that.
Look at the price of, and the reason I say this, look at the Oculus, or the Oculus Quest 2 costs 500 euro. The Valve Index costs 3 times that figure.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of coming in here. If you think of what it takes to run a game well, now maybe they'll have your basic version, which is 600 euro spitball park. Just throw a figure out there, ballpark figures, where you'll have a 1080 version for 600, and then a 2080 version for 800, and then your 3080 version for 1500. Because you have to think of what it's going to take to be in. They have to get everything inside that plus a screen to run it on. Like, it's not going to be cheap.
No, I see the point.
I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, but you're probably right, considering I'd forgotten the Vive was so fucking expensive when it's not even worth that much.
No.
So anyway, so Game Pass for Switch was that one. I think we might get a GTA 6 release year.
That is a wild card. I will give it to you because it's a wild card.
Yeah.
But okay, the reason I don't have a lot of wild cards is because this logical fucking brain doesn't let me venture into that sort of stuff. So I was chatting about this with the guys, and they all said, GTA 6. GTA 5 just had its most successful year last year. There is zero way they announce a GTA 6 yet. Maybe next year we'll get a GTA 6 announcement. But I don't think this year. I think no way. I think
print the money for them.
They don't even need a printer. It's raining money for them.
Yeah. It's just directly into their pocket.
Yeah. I think there's no way, but yeah, it's a wild card, so yeah, of course.
It's a wild. Give me my wild card, man.
I am giving you your wild card, you little bitch.
Stop bringing logic to my wild cards. Speaking of wild cards, new Kingdom Hearts game will be announced.
That is a wild card, but why not? I guess.
Considering how they ended number 3, I suspect they will be bringing out a new one. This one's a wild card, but I think it's kind of a formality at this stage as well. Epic Games to announce their partnership with PlayStation for PC games. I think Epic will become the exclusive partner for those titles going forward.
I think we had that chat not too long ago. Like, it was a while ago, but I think we had that chat where it just makes, apart from the court case going on at the moment, it just makes sense. Like, when you think about it, it just makes sense.
Yeah. Even if you think, like, Epic are offering Sony more money on their investments, so Sony love money. They're definitely going to do that.
It just makes
Um,
sense. If it's like it's a win-win from both sides.
yeah.
Like it
Oh,
really is a
definitely.
win-win.
Epic needs it to get more credibility in the storefront space, and PlayStation just want more money.
Yeah.
So, so speaking of Sony and more money, I'm gonna put these two together. I think wildcard completely. We're gonna get God of War for PC announcement and The Last of Us.
I think the first one, I think that is possible next year before the new one comes out. If you look at the way they've done Horizon, I also think the Uncharted one might be meaning there might be an Uncharted announcement down the line somewhere. I think The Last of Us will get a PC release, and it will be just before the program starts.
I have that to
Yeah,
align with TV series.
yeah, I don't think it's an E3 announcement. It's definitely not an E3 because PlayStation aren't there, but I think that could possibly come along the lines for PlayStation somewhere. Are you finished with all your wildcard stuff, by the way? Because we can move on to what PlayStation might do in the summer.
I've one more wild card, but just
Okay.
on your announcement there of what PlayStation might do, I actually wild card. I think they could do something where if they announce a partnership with Epic, they would just put the logos of games that are in their minds of what they're doing. You could see Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, and no release dates or anything. Just these are the things we're probably bringing.
See,
Um,
I think that Summer Game Fest slot is probably a smart place to put your money on
mm,
for Epic to make an appearance. Because
yeah,
Tim Sweeney, despite being a very, very wealthy man, is all about, fuck you guys, we're not giving you like 30%. And I assume he'd be the same towards the ESA.
yeah,
Six figure sum just to appear on your show. No, I'm going off with Jeff. So I think it's probably the logical place for him to make an appearance is on that Summer Game Fest. So if you are getting any Epic announcements, it will be at Summer Game Fest.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And last wild card, and to do with the Netflix Geek season thing, whatever it is Netflix will release details of the Final Fantasy 14 TV show that has been rumored for years.
Possible.
And I would love that. That'd be
Ooh,
awesome.
actually, that's a very wildcardy one for Squares. Maybe we get some sort of announcement about the supposed Final Fantasy VII one that is rumored at the moment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wildcardish, but maybe.
They're all my wild cards. That's my
Okay.
yeah.
I have
Everything
one
squared.
more wild card, and I think it's a wild card because Elden Ring still hasn't released. However, Elden Ring was announced quite a while ago, so it's possible. Oh, there's actually that other game. The other fantasy game. Was it Ubisoft? Not MMO, their RPG. Remember you saw the arrow flying across the flame and then it goes down into the cave. Was that Ubisoft? I'll have to look it up. But maybe a new Dark Souls title announced by Bandai Namco. And it would literally be Dark Souls 4. Or
Yeah.
just a new IP that they're working on. That is the same. It's the same style of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro. Not the open world Elden Ring, but something new. Maybe
Mm,
I'm aware that
yeah.
it's a bit of a wild card because it's a bit far out.
No, it could happen.
Aside from that, have we predicted a possible Starfield release date?
I
I
think we
think
said next year is what
I think it's a bit
I
of a
think we had
wild
talked about it
prediction,
before.
but I think we
Yeah.
might get one. Maybe. Maybe.
I think we'll get a release period.
Yeah.
I think we did say this. I think we said we're gonna get a period in which it might release next year.
And the one other thing I think just to touch on, Xbox like to reveal new partnerships at E3. And it's generally like AA indie studios that they partner with. I'm gonna wildcard that Xbox announce a big partnership at E3. Not to the same size of Bethesda, but
Nami?
Konami. But a relatively big one. I don't know who it is, but I'm going to predict that they might announce a partnership or an acquisition of relative size.
Hmm.
And if they
Yeah,
have,
could happen.
they've been very quiet about doing it. And I reckon it will be an Eastern developer.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the event list now to see who's
I
there.
just shat myself because I just saw the spreadsheet scroll down. I was like, why is that moving? My hands, and I just hovered over it, and it's you. Um. So yeah, I think the last kind of discussion to really go on to before we wrap it up. I probably won't touch on news tonight because we are getting close to 2 hours. But I think PlayStation have announced nothing yet. They obviously did their Horizon Forbidden West state of play. They did a Ratchet and Clank state of play, but they've done no 2 hour slots where they show off a slate of new stuff. They haven't even done like a 45-minute one where they go trailer, 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 trailer. They've done very. I'm getting so much fucking acid reflux talking tonight, but they've done no. They've done very focused state of play rather than the big ones. And I'm assuming they will do something after E3. Or do you think they might just do these focused ones where they show off Kana and then they show off whatever the next game is coming out? I don't know.
I really hope not. I really hope they do a broader. Conference. Yeah,
like, I think it's expected. I think it's expected of them to do it.
Yeah, they have to, because while they pulled out of E3, like they haven't, every other year they haven't really let down with giving us the broader scope of what's coming out. To not do that this year, while everyone else brings their A game, it would be a serious mistake.
Because I think the reason I think I think I agree with you. The reason I do agree with you is that I think while it has been a very successful launch window for the PlayStation 5, there's no debating that. I know that console shortages are a thing, but the reason console shortages are a thing is because people are fucking buying them, or scalpers are. But they've sold a crazy amount of consoles already. They released 4-5 really good games already that are a console exclusive. Ratchet and Clank is right around the corner. So I think it has been a very successful launch window, the messaging from Jim Ryan to the Sony player base has been very hit and miss.
Yep.
Very, very hit and miss. So I think they need a conference, a 2-hour conference. Is Sean Layden still at Sony? Where he prances out on the stage and just says, here's a game, and here's a game, and here's a game, and here's a game. And then they roll out, Sean, did boys leave? But they roll out those guys in suits that just go, and here's a game, and here's a game, and just blow people away. Because I think they need that.
Oh yeah.
I think obviously Forbidden West is coming soon, probably this year, and I think we will get a release date for that within the next couple of months. Whenever they do that not E3 thing that they're going to do, I think we get the release date for that. Obviously God of War has now been delayed, even though in my eyes it's like I always expected it to come out in 2022 anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just a market.
It never had a release date, so
it must just be a marketing thing that they do, where they say, "Oh, if we talk about our game being delayed, it gets people talking about our game."
Well, do you know what I think it is? I think it's because there was that leak recently where they were saying God of War Ragnarok on a PlayStation investors call, maybe, and I was like, "Oh, it's God of War Ragnarok. It's coming," and you had Jeff and all come out going, no one ever said it was Ragnarok. And Corey Balrog even tweeted just the facepalm emoji as soon as that was announced. Yeah. So I say he's just like, for fuck's sake. So they're trying to just get ahead of this wave of expectation. People are probably coming into the E3 season with going like, can't wait for Ragnarok to be announced. It's like, ain't fucking happening, bud.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Herman Hulst, who's the head of PlayStation Studios, he put out a big article. Oh, I don't know if it was an article. Oh, it was an interview. Sorry, it was an interview on the official PlayStation podcast where I'm reading. There was like an article put out of the excerpts from. I'm actually gonna go listen to that podcast, and I'll put it down in the description below, right below that sneezable like button where you can sneeze and like our podcast. But he talked about there's like just 25 games currently in development, more than 25 games in development at PlayStation Studios. Like they've got a lot, but I haven't read through all this yet, so I don't know if they've spoke about what they're planning to do. But I do hope that they do a big show at some point during the summer, preferably earlier. And I reckon when they do that, we will get some juicy stuff. I think we will get... Sony like to sign off with a big reveal. Like think back over the last few years of their big reveals. You obviously had the Last of Us 2 one. Last year you had the Ragnarok is coming, God of War popped up. Like years ago now you had Nathan Drake waking up for Uncharted 4. Like
Final Fantasy 7 remake one, the biggest one ever.
Yeah, see that wasn't at the end of the show, but it wasn't at the
Wasn't
end.
it? I thought it was.
Oh, it was. Sorry, it was. Yeah, I'm getting confused. Yeah, you had that one. So I think, yeah, I hope that we do get something. And I also think that it is very, very, very possible that PlayStation are working on something with Kojima also. That we just don't know about.
Or
Huh?
that's slut.
Makes love making games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to know.
Will we... Yeah.
I think we know a lot of what PlayStation are working on because they showed a lot off last year. So I think if they were to do anything this summer, it would be gameplay plus maybe release dates for a lot of those games. But I do think some of that stuff is quite far out. Apparently, there's a Guardians of the Galaxy game in development. Actually, I saw that somewhere today.
Oh yeah, where did I see that?
I don't remember who's working on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be. Do you know who it might be? Ben Studios. I think the rumor is that Ben, who did Days Gone 2, are working on Guardians.
Yeah, maybe
because they're working on a brand new IP. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was quite funny that nobody wanted a sequel to Days Gone until they were told they weren't getting one.
That's because people didn't buy it at full price. It's because critics didn't review the game properly.
Touchy subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything? What do you think PlayStation might do?
I definitely think I really hope that they do the full showcase, 2 hour, even if it's just, a little bit of talking and mostly just gameplay stuff. I really hope they do that, and if they do, I'd love to see Final Fantasy 16.
I think that's a
right. I'm crying out for Final Fantasy 16. Any information, even if the release date is holiday 2022, I just need something to know that it's going ahead and what to
I think
expect.
if they do a big show, 16 will be at it.
I think,
and potentially 7 Part 2 as well.
Do you know what I think might happen? And this will be a good indication. If Square show Final Fantasy 16, we're not getting a big Sony state of play. We're just getting focused gameplay ones on each individual game. And as we said, that's a big missed opportunity. So I think that will be our indication. The Square one will be an indication for how big Sony are going to go later in the summer.
Possibly. I think the one thing that kind of stands out to me, though, if you look at Jeff Grubb's, like what he's reporting on what's going to be coming up, there was nothing about a Sony thing in there.
Yeah,
like there's nothing. The only thing is July, not E3 continues. More publishers are going rogue. Potentially in there's something about a Sony conference, but it's hard to know.
Yeah.
I also think it might depend on how E3 goes. If the likes of Xbox and Nintendo have a successful E3, Sony might feel like they have to hit back. If Xbox have an average showing, Sony might just be happy sitting on their laurels for a while. And just let their
Yeah.
games do the talking. Let Ratchet and Clank do the talking when it comes out. Like Kana is a PlayStation console exclusive. Let that do the talking.
Yeah, true.
And obviously Intergrade has the upgrade is out next week. Like I don't know what else
I'll
is in
wait
the.
for that.
I don't think there's anything else in short term, but they might just be happy. It might depend. Like if Xbox come out with a fantastic conference and it's a joint one with Bethesda where they just show game after game and it's fantastic, Sony might go, "Oh shit, we have to show something."
Is it too late though at that time to
Nah,
change your plans?
I wouldn't think so. Not if it's a Zoom call style gig. I'm sure you can pull that
True.
shit together fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'm just looking there to see is there anything being announced, but the only thing we've gotten is the PSVR stuff.
Yeah, true,
So
true.
I don't know. Yeah,
Very
maybe
true.
maybe this is gonna be a bad year for
I
Sony.
think I think this year is going to be a quite enough year for some of them anyway. I think this year might be like updates on games that are in development or games that have entered development, but I don't think we're getting a lot of release date stuff this year. I think this year is going to show
Yeah.
the effects of last year on the games industry. However, it is fucking great to have E3 back. Like, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, Jeff Keighley did a great job last summer. It was okay. Like he got stuff out. He kept stuff rolling and going all the time. We got excited for some stuff. We got some like the Crash game, Crash Bandicoot got announced through that. The Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remakes were announced through that and got short release windows. But I think it's fantastic to actually have this staying up till 2 a.m. to watch some sort of conference. Now it's just no 2 a.m. slot because we don't have a PlayStation conference. But it's nice. Like, oh, the Xbox one starts at 10 o'clock. Can't wait. Go watch it. Whatever time it's at. So I
Yeah.
love that. I love those 10 days around E3, and also because the fact that Jeff Keighley now does his own thing, we get an extra night of it, an extra 2 hour showcase. So looking forward, really,
Yeah.
really looking forward to it. Before we wrap up, because I think we need to wrap up. I'm not doing news. The news this week was the E3 conference times. I'll put some news articles below, or the news below about how to get those times and when it's all coming up. The only other thing, obviously, God of War got delayed, and the Nvidia GeForce 3070 and 3080 Ti's were released. Have fun trying to get one. What's your one dream announcement? Like, the one thing that is probably not going to happen, or potentially might happen, but your one dream game announcement at E3. Or at a PlayStation conference, by the way. Your one dream announcement. But while you think about it, if you haven't thought about it,
No, I've thought about it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Chaotix did reply to us. I asked this question, and his dream reveal was a Ratchet and Clank remaster of 1 to 3. Now, they've already done 1, but he'd love a box set of all 3 of them remastered for next gen. A new Middle-earth game. I don't know why you'd want one of them for what it's worth. But whatever you're into, and some Payday 3 news. Steven, go on. What would you dream of?
Now that he's mentioned Lord of the Rings, I have 2 and 3, and I want those remastered. But no, I'll stick with what I have. So I put down 3, and then I just said, "What's the one dream one? Like, what's the one that would get me giddy?" And I think it's the announcement of a full remake of Final Fantasy VI. I would.
I knew you were going to say that. Before you even said it, I knew you were going to say it.
That's because I texted you earlier on going, "You're not going to guess what it is," so I gave you time to think about it, so you can guess what it was.
I actually wasn't really thinking about it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. I would 6. To my shame, is one I haven't gotten around to play because it's just old graphics. The newer ones, like when you read Steam reviews, they're like, "Don't play it; it's shit." With the updated graphics and what way they change it, like I think, from what I know of the story, I think a lot of games miss out on what that achieved at the time. And to do that in modern graphics with 60 frames per second, with like even to bring it in with Final Fantasy VII's more action orientated style, that could work really well. Now I don't know how you could suplex a train. That would be pretty weird in 4K 60, but
Why not?
you'd work with it. But I think that to me would be if I was to dream of anything to happen, the full remake of 6. I'd settle for a full remake of 9 or 10 as well if they want to go that route. But 6 would be, because I haven't played it, I'd love to experience that in a new way that I haven't experienced that at all. I have 2 other ones that I'll quickly mention when you're done.
Go for it. No, you go for it now. Be my guest.
Bloodborne announced for PC and Remake Part 2 to release in March 2022.
Oh, you're gone early with that, and I like it. I'm gonna override one of yours and say I don't want Bloodborne PC to be announced. I want Bloodborne 2 to be announced. And it doesn't necessarily have to come to PC. It can be on PS5 and be at 60 FPS and be glorious. I would love Bloodborne 2 to be announced. Or another game in the same style of Sekiro.
That would be cool.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in Japan, but just the same combat style of Sekiro.
I'd love Sekiro 2. Yeah, I mean, depending on the ending they go for, you could feasibly have them. So, was that your dream prediction?
That's one of them.
Sekiro. Okay.
I'd love a new
dream window.
I'd love a new FromSoft game that wasn't Dark Souls or Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Obviously, Elden Ring is that, but that doesn't count. I'm gonna go. My first one is one that is never, ever, ever gonna happen, and I say it a lot as a Pokemon MMO. Like, genuinely released, not on the Switch, released for PC. Or it can be on the Switch, by the way. It doesn't have to not be on the Switch, but a cross-gen Pokemon MMO that releases on all platforms plus PC and is basically Destiny or World of Warcraft, but Pokemon. But it's never going to happen. It's never ever going to happen because it's just not. We can't have nice things in this universe. My one dream announcement. That would be amazing. It would be phenomenal. Oh my god. Dream announcement. The one thing that I would go crazy for is one of two things. Is either Metal Gear Solid 6, developed by Hideo Kojima, somehow, or full remakes of Metal Gears 1 to 4. And you can even leave out 4. You can even just do 1, 2, and 3. That'd be the dream announcement. That'd be... And not this shitty HD remaster bollocks.
Yeah.
Properly done from the ground up. It's not even the ground up. It's done from remake, the shelf up. Not quite Final Fantasy 7 remake, but really well, really well done. Obviously, you'd have to remake 1 from the ground up, but 2 and 3, you could just make them pretty and shiny. That'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, I'd get behind that now.
But again, it must be done by not Konami, because fuck Konami.
Konami just heard you and they're developing that now.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's going to be announced at E3.
Are Konami at E3?
No. Maybe selling their machines. That's about it.
I don't know what else. Like, obviously, I'd love for Bungie to make an appearance at E3 and go, "Here's our new IP. Bet you didn't expect us." But I don't think we hear about Bungie's new IP until 2022, which is next year, until 2023, which is... So we have Witch Queen in 2021. We've got
22
Lightfall in 2022, and we've got Redacted in 2023. I don't think we hear about Bungie's new IP until 2023. But I would love for them to come out and say, "This is what we're doing." It's very vague, very, very vague, but here's what we're doing.
Do you know what I'd love for Bungie to do? Bring Destiny 1 to current gen consoles and PC. I would love for them to just
like them to
bring it into Destiny 2.
To somehow that you can access it. So it's like an optional extra download. If that makes sense.
You know what? Like, this is going to sound really stupid. When they announced the Destiny Content Vault, and I think the message is still in that group chat we had for watching the Shadowkeep stream or Beyond Livestream, whatever it was, I remember saying they're doing a full remake of D1 because I thought the Destiny Content Vault was going to be a separate download where you got all of D1
That'd be
in
amazing.
like a buggy, like it's just a play space to go in and it's going to be a buggy mess and people will fix it over time, but it's a separate download. And when they're taking things out from D2 like Mars and whatever the fuck else they deleted, that it goes into that content vault. So if you want to go in and do your raids in there, you can.
Yeah.
It's just not part of D2's main live service.
Yeah, I think
So
that would
if
be
there's a
fantastic.
bug in there,
Yeah.
that's what I thought it was, and I was so disappointed when it wasn't. Why would you call it a content vault if it's just basically your trash bin?
Yeah, it's they just don't empty it though. That'd be another cool announcement though, and it'd be by Xbox probably that Destiny 1 is playable on Game Pass for PC. And it can be at 30 FPS, by the way. It doesn't have to be.
No, don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Don't give me a PC release in D1 at 30 FPS.
It's not going to happen because Bungie don't have the resources to allocate to that because they're too busy with Destiny 2. But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a natural conclusion. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about. I don't know what we're doing next week. I think next week I'll probably have football on Thursday. If I don't, I'm more than happy to watch the Summer Game Fest and then do a podcast afterwards talking about it. Okay, just to put it out there, by the way, I don't want to watch and react to E3 stuff on the pod. And I'm saying this on the podcast.
Oh god, no.
I want to sit on my sofa with the big screen.
Yeah.
And just relax and watch it. And if we want to come on and do 30-minute, 40-minute episodes where we talk about what we've just watched, I'm more than happy to do that. But I think next week we could do a reaction to the Summer Game Fest, maybe, if nothing else comes up. And then we still have that Last of Us review that I want to do. And I think it's a good time to do it just before the 1-year anniversary of it. But anyway, we will keep you informed nowhere because we're terrible on social media and we need to improve that. But yeah, I'm going to sign off there. All the links will be in the description below to anything we spoke about. E3 shit will be down there. I'll catch you next week. I've been Kev. Thanks. Bye. Love you. You'll catch me doing 2-man vlogs.
Thanks for tuning in. 2-man vlogs, yeah.
2-man vlogs.
And per Atheon.
I will put together our successful encounters from Vault of Glass Day 1. I'll take each successful encounter and put it into a clip. I don't know when I'll do it, but when I do it, it will be on the channel. You can hear some of us arguing, but yeah, I will do that eventually because I still have that 33GB file. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kev out.
Go on. Yeah, well, you'll hear us again next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Enjoyed a pretty stream ending title screen. Bye.